Growing up with Toxic Family, part 12. We ended part 11 with me getting family members out of our house. Me ending our mother's house being a crack house. Now, although they was gone, the damage was done. See, because the entire time when they had made my mother's house into a full-fledged crack house, as I spoke about, they were sitting around telling stories about me. And because they're telling these stories to people, all negative, everybody began to talk about them, about the stories, about me. Most of the people that they told this to was the crackheads they were smoking crack with every day. They told it to the neighbors. The neighbors in turn began to talk about it every day, about me. The things that I was doing and was not doing, the things that I did not know how to do, the things that I was going through, being a teenager. We was the talk of the neighborhood. It was nothing for me to go outside and hear neighbors talking about me. Over and over again, it was a daily thing. I can walk to the store and hear neighbors on their porch talking about me. And because many of these older people was talking, so the people my age that I grew up with is in the household with them, they're hearing the stories too. So what's happening is now they're talking about me as well. The people I didn't grew up with as being my friends. Now for me, I'm looking at this and listening to all these people talking, and I'm thinking to myself, these people knew my mother. They knew how I grew up. They knew my family. Why is it that they can't see I'm just a kid who lost his mother and going through a rough time because I got toxic family members that's robbing me? Nobody paid that no attention, but they steady talking bad about me because I'm going through a bad time. Now, I'm also looking at how some of these people used to come to our house when I was growing up and borrow things from my mother. Other people used to actually come use our telephone because they didn't have one. So how is it now my mother's gone and they sitting around talking bad about me? This put me in a psychotic state of mind. All I wanted to do was just be a normal teenager. That's all I wanted. So now that the family's gone, I just want to get out the house, hang out with my friends a little bit or something. But because my friends already been talking bad about me, so I'm hanging out with somebody else. So we at their house one day, and their mother's there, and she seemed pretty friendly. And she mumbled under her voice, I was a hoodlum. Now, back then, the term hoodlum would be what we call a thug today. The problem here is that she didn't know I was born with a gift of hearing. I hear things I ain't supposed to hear. So when she said this and I heard it, I said, that's it. Ain't nobody getting away with saying nothing about me. This woman was 40-something years old, didn't even know me. I was gone from being a hoodlum. I was just a kid who lost his mother and been through hell the last 3 years. But you calling me a hoodlum. But that was it. After that, every day I got up, I'm looking for anybody to say something about me or to me. You ain't getting away. I don't care who you are. A guy that I had known for years. We had basically grew up together. He was talking bad about me like any other normal day. But I confronted him. And we had words. There was shouting. It was yelling. It was a hot summer day. People was all on their porches, listening, watching. And he tried to jump on his moped and take off. And I pulled my gun out and started shooting at him. That was the beginning of a long summer of 1986. Every single day, I was into it with people because what they were saying about me. But why was they talking about me? Because of the stories my own family then told them. I was into it with 5 or 6 households on our block. All these people I done known my whole life. If you go across the street, corner house, I'm into it with them. Skip a house, I'm into it with them. Skip a house, I'm into it with them. Them, skip a house, I'm into it with them. All summer, off and on. And it ain't just arguments. It's guns being pulled, shots being fired. The majority of these people was grown. They're in their 30s and 40s. Every single day, I'm a psychotic maniac. Getting into it. For what? Everywhere I went, I'm into it with people. Everywhere. And just like I'm into it with people everywhere I went, many times when you into it with somebody and they know where you stay, they coming back to your house. See, one day, was into it with another guy I grew up with on the next block. I knew him and his whole family. We get into it. Don't know what it was about, probably the same old nothing. But this dude got older brothers. They in their 20s and 30s. Another hot summer day, sitting outside, 2 cars pull up at the corner. You had 4 or 5 grown men get out with him, running down the street with long guns, broad daylight. Well, see, they didn't know what they was running into. They got sent running back to their cars without even firing a shot. Grown men running from a teenager. It never stopped. It was a daily thing. The end of the summer. The people, one of the people I had been into it with all summer, one of the neighbors, that was the first guy I shot at the beginning of the summer. They had several teenagers in their household around my age. And you know how it is. You get into it with somebody in their family, you into it with everybody. Now, end of the summer, somebody who with me is walking to the store by themselves. Now, we sitting on my friend's porch watching them because at the time, they got 8, 9 people on their porch. And you know how people get when they got a lot of people with them. They bad. So we knew something was going to happen. As they walking by, the people on the porch talking. They bad. Got their chest out, ready to fight. And they come running off their porch, about to jump on this person by themselves. When that gun whipped out on them, they scattered every which way. No shots fired. Didn't need to. Now, the next day, their father, who was a 40-something-year-old man, he wanted to talk to me because he know this thing been going on all summer. So he want to talk. Well, see, at this point, because of everything that I done been through with grown people, I was unapproachable. And when he came at me, he didn't come talking like an adult trying to resolve a situation. He came at me, once again, like everybody else, like he was bad. Let me talk to you. And he's saying it and he keep walking up on me. He got his hand behind his back. I don't know what he got, but I ain't no fool. The way he talking, the way he walking up on me, I know he got something. So I ain't waiting around, I went to pull my gun. And soon as I did that, one of the neighbors, once again, somebody known all my life, they know all my family, knew my mother, name was Frank. Me and Frank's son grew up together, hung out. Frank stepped between me and this man. And so I didn't pull the gun. I tried to step around Frank, and Frank stopped me again. He didn't say nothing. But something told me, walk away. And I did. The old man walked away too. Now, later that day, people telling me, hey man, the dude had a knife. And the way he was walking up on you, he was gonna stab you. Because he's known for stabbing people. He done stabbed a few people. And I'm thinking to myself, this 40-something-year-old man bring a knife to a gunfight. He gonna stab a 16-year-old. Okay, he ain't getting away with it. That night, we planning on shooting up their house. But even as a 16-year-old psychopath, I could pay attention and say, hold on. They got a couple of babies in their house. You can't go shoot their house up. So I said, no, we're going to let off some rounds in the alley behind their house. Just to let them know I ain't nobody you want to mess with. And that's what we did. About 12 o'clock that night, after we got done, we at somebody's house, you know. We've been doing a lot of shooting. Guns need cleaning. And that was something I had taught myself during that time of all the shit I was going through. I had learned how to break guns down and clean them. Back then, long before the internet, they had the mail order where you could get a free gunsmithing class. And I did that. And they sent me all these books and whatnot. And I learned how to break guns down and clean them, you know, even fix things. And what was so amazing, as that 15, 16-year-old kid, it was grown people that would have problems with their guns and they would bring them to me, you know? And it's just so amazing looking back at what I was able to accomplish, even going through all the things that I was going through. I'm doing things grown people couldn't do. Now, we there cleaning the guns. I got them all broken down on the table in pieces. I'm cleaning. It's a knock at the door. They say Detroit police. Now it's summertime, so the guy house I'm at, he got the front window up. So he gonna look out the window. When he looks out that window, it's a shotgun in his face. Police got the house surrounded. They come up in there, take us to jail, take the guns or the pieces of guns. Now, they didn't have no warrant. The guns was in pieces, and I was a minor. So, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I get released from the 5th precinct where they took us to down on St. Jean and Jefferson. Now, because I'm a minor, who got to come pick me up? My sister, my guardian. Now, she come, get me. We catch a cab from the police station back to the house. Now, she ain't saying nothing about what happened, what's going on, what I'm into, what I've been doing. You know, nothing about none of it. And she know, because she's still talking to neighbors over there. They telling her about what I've been into every day. She ain't saying nothing. She don't come to the house and sit me down and try to talk to me. None of that. She goes and sit on Frank's porch because Frank was a foreman at the plant. And at the time, the plant he worked at was by her house. So what she gonna do, because Frank get up at leave out at 4:30 in the morning to go to work, she gonna catch a ride with him back home. And I'm sitting up looking at her and she got this look on her face. That look that she can't wait to get home and get on the phone and tell people all the trouble I'm getting into and how she had to come get me out of jail at 3 in the morning. I've seen the look so many times. She got a story that she can't wait to put it out on the news. I went home and I stayed up all night. I had to have an intervention with myself. You think about that. A 16-year-old getting into all this trouble, he got to have an intervention with his self because the grown people around was too foolish to even try. Let me tell you how the conversation went. I say, what are you doing? You've been getting in all this trouble all summer. All kinds of stuff, every day. For what? It's over nothing. I say, look at all these people, man, that you know that they went to prison for shooting and killing people. That's your age. Look at it. I say, look at all the family members that tell the stories about, again, people my age that can shot and kill people, and now they being charged as adults. Many of them ain't gonna never see the street again. Look, any of the shootings that you was involved in, somebody could have got shot. Somebody could have got killed. And you, at 16, would have been labeled a murderer. And not nobody would have thought about all the traumatizing things you've been through that caused you to be this way. Your life would have been over at 16. That day, I stopped smoking weed. I stopped hanging out. I stopped worrying about what they were saying about me. And I started trying to stay home and focus on trying to get things together on my own.